Good morning. You are listening to Witnessing Faith with Bishop Dewane. I'm Karen Barry Schwartz, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Venice in Florida. This is part 2 of an interview with Bishop Frank J. Dewane on the occasion of his retirement. After 20 years, 2 decades, as shepherd of the Diocese of Venice in Florida, Bishop Dewane will be Bishop Emeritus for all time for the Diocese of Venice in Florida. And after July 11th, when he is ordained, Bishop Emilio Biosca Aguero will be the new bishop of the Diocese in Venice in Florida, the diocese's third shepherd. This is part 2 of a conversation with Bishop Dewane as we discuss his time here in the Diocese of Venice for the last 20 years and how he feels about retirement. And that leads me to my next question, which is, it always has struck me that for you in particular, your job must be particularly challenging because of the diversity within the Diocese of Venice, both economically and just it's a giant geography. It's very spread out. You like to be accessible. You like to be there. You had to do a lot of travel. But it's very diverse. It's diverse populations. There are some very poor areas and some very, very wealthy areas, probably extremes at both ends. And that's got to be difficult to manage.
I think there's a richness in that. You know, the different cultures you speak of, every one of them has a dimension to offer to us. I know we're in difficult times right now on that issue. Mm-hmm. But I'll say it again. Every one of them have something to offer. It might be a more loving way that they have in their culture and of expressing that affection, that love, in a more open kind of way, even toward a stranger who might have no one who pays attention to him. We have everything to learn from that. We are spread out, and it means, we're diverse. Go out near the water, all right, things are a little better. Everything's beautiful when it's getting a lot of water. Plants, the people, everything. You get a little bit further into the center of the state of Florida, which is kind of the eastern side of our diocese. That's not so much water. Crops are a little bit more difficult. So is the economy. Mm-hmm. And we have to pay attention to that. How do we, as Catholic Charities and what we want to offer, what done from one side to the other, it has to be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. First of all, certain culture, it's not flour they're looking for, or it's a particular kind of flour, or it's rice rather than potatoes. I grew up in Wisconsin. Rice was something, I knew what it was, but you didn't have it all that often. And we just have to be alert to this diversity. It makes each one of us, I believe, sincerely believe, that diversity makes each one of us stronger, more alert, more attentive, and more able to focus on the other and not just me. This is how I do it, how I want it. Well, okay, we can all speak of that. But if we stay on that perpendicular pronoun, I, sometimes it blocks a lot. It gets in the way. It's a barrier. And we need to say, you, us, our mission. Because we come together on so many things. And I think it's beautiful sometimes. And this is a blessing in this diocese. You get up in front of a congregation on a Sunday, it is as mixed as it comes. And that's a blessing. It's great that they're there. Great. And different songs are sung. Sometimes you know the language. Sometimes you don't. Doesn't take away from the beauty of the music.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you saw that the diversity as more of a blessing.
Oh, it is.
Than an obstacle.
No, not an obstacle at all. We can make it that. Mm-hmm. And that's easy to do.
Right.
But I don't think we're called to do that, especially the church. Mm-hmm. Come on, it's addressed diversity throughout all the years it has existed and has been able to, I think, make it a strong point.
right, some more highlights, which we've mentioned briefly. You've seen record numbers of students in our Catholic schools. I think the population is now double that of when you came here, now over 6,000 students. Record number of those entering the Catholic Church. But also, and I don't know if these are so much highlights, but you've dealt with a global pandemic, dealt with several major hurricanes, saw the overturn of Roe versus Wade and faced down Amendment 4, saw changes in immigration laws, which we have alluded to, and dealt with countless other issues that perhaps only you even know. What's been the most challenging thing for you as bishop of a diocese?
First of all, I think the church has called us all to put an emphasis on life. So Amendment 4 was a tough one, and we had to work hard, and I acknowledge you were very much a part of that. I remember with you, we had to get those signs out there.
Yes.
And do something about it. The students in the school, we have an obligation. You know, sometimes schools will say, well, we don't want any more students in our school. We have enough. Okay, we're not set up as prep schools. Parents who are asking for their children to get into school, to get a Catholic education, they have a right to ask that. And they have a right to a response. And we have to try and facilitate that in every way we can. So sometimes when I hear, oh, we don't want the school to get so big or so crowded, I'm a little bit, and I'll tell them point blank, how would you suggest I answer the parent who wants their child into the Catholic school? If I follow what you're saying, there's no room for them. But I know there can be more room in those classrooms. There is more room. And so to try and get the other side maybe to understand that, the record numbers you speak of entering the Catholic Church, that's certainly a blessing. And journalists ask me, why'd that happen? You know, they made a big deal about it. I said, it's the Holy Spirit who does it. And I believe that. I haven't changed my preaching from when I arrived, what's good about the church and why we should, and how to live the life. But it's got a different kind of traction now, that people will stop after a homily and they say, and they've really caught the subtlety that's there. And they'll say, oh, I really like that point you made about this or this. It's interesting. We're in a different period. And I don't know why. All I can say is that Holy Spirit. You know, we had been growing in numbers, but this last year to take the kind of leap that we did in the numbers, that was a good thing. The pandemic, I think, taught us a lot about ourselves, about things that maybe the church had never done it that way before. Those confessions in a car line. Come on, that was all a little different.
Probably not.
The confessional screen suddenly became a big door that was a screen. We had to adapt. And maybe it wasn't our long suit, and had to just become, okay, we can do that. Or stay in your car. We're old enough to remember when drive-in movies. I don't know, maybe kids go to them now. You know, you went there with the car and everybody lined up and the speaker was right there.
Never worked.
So yeah. Suddenly some of the parishes had that, and they had a loudspeaker from up in front. It wasn't the small one. You know, the changes in the immigration laws, we have to deal with that. We have to speak out. I don't believe God created me better than anyone else. I don't. And where that kind of comes from, I guess I understand our history. We can read it. But sometimes you say, you know, looks just like me. Maybe skin's a little bit different. But I do think we just have to be attentive to what's going on around us, the hurricanes, a lot of people suffer from them. The power goes off. So poor me.
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of people, their house blew away.
Yeah.
Or they lost a relative.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tragedy of those kinds of
Right.
things. I think as a diocese and as Catholic Charities, we've improved on how we respond. Why? Because we've had to respond so many times.
Yes.
Just to get back. And, it pains me that we still have one church we haven't been able to put back on the map.
Right.
It's gone. We have a plan for it. But it's how do we get that all together?
Right.
And, the cost of it goes up by the minute. As we sit here, because cost of everything goes up, and they decide, okay, it's now you have to have it 13 feet above such and such a level. Landfill, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It just gets very complicated. It's not only the price of the church.
Since you do have a direct connection to God, I do want to put in a complaint that all these hurricanes, or most of them, have happened since I got here. I was told it never happens on this side of Florida. But...
Well, we've had even before I came, they had a few over here that some church, when I first was appointed here, so more than 20 years ago, I think it was Charlie who had come through, and a couple churches still weren't up and operating, and that was a priority right away. I thought, okay, we can do this. Other faiths around, they had them open. It was like, come on, let's just focus now. And I think with focus, you can always accomplish a lot.
Now, I've asked you what was the most challenging, so now I'm going to hit you with the hard one. What has been the most rewarding? Or maybe that's easy.
Most rewarding. No, it's a hard one to answer because how do you prioritize that? And I'm just going to say, it's rewarding in so many different ways. Somebody who I've known the 20 years I've been here, maybe I was a little younger than them when I came. They're still here and saying, I remember when you had your first Mass. And that kind of hits you. And they say, you've done so much for us. You've been so, and you just kind of go, that's really rewarding. And it's touching because you've known this person all along. And at least every Sunday it was, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Maybe they lost a spouse along the way, or, some said story about one of their children, something has happened, tragic, cancer, whatever. And you can just tell they feel it badly. It's rewarding to see youth at a youth rally.
Yeah.
I'll just level.
Yeah.
You said it earlier, but you look out and you see these young faces. And yes, they're having their kind of fun. It's a little loud for old guy like me, but they're there and they're shouting out for Jesus. That's a good thing.
Yes.
That's extremely rewarding. The other rewarding thing is, you build a church where maybe they just had a dump to worship in. Sorry to use that word, but that's what they were.
Yeah.
And it's been changed. You see the pride they have in it. Bingo.
Yeah.
You did the right thing. And why? And they'll tell you, it's the Lord's house. It's not because it's theirs or our parish. No, it's the Lord's parish. And it's there. It's those kind of the most rewarding. They're the small ones that come out of nowhere. The numbers are the numbers. Numbers can go the other direction on you too.
Yeah. Anything surprised you that when you became bishop, you thought, I never saw that coming? Was anything surprising about it to you?
I think I didn't grasp initially the individual need that people would kind of call out.
Oh,
It's big, we're large, we're numerous.
260,000 Catholic.
They expect their bishop to be there.
And you have
Well, have been there. There are times I couldn't. I had a little bit of a hip problem, was out of circulation for a while. Those things happen. But otherwise, I think I learned quickly that, no, it's an expectation. And it converted for me. And I've said this many times. The people of God in diocese have a right to see their bishop in their parish. Not, you call my office. Bad one. I worked in offices. That doesn't mean too much. But for them to see you in their parish and stand at the back of the church when Mass is over, greeting people. Somebody has a suggestion. They may have meant it as a complaint, but I'll take them as suggestions. But they may have had a compliment also, that they really liked something we did. Or they went to that Eucharistic Congress, and that was the best thing they had done, that they have heard put on in the diocese. You're just glad that someone, all right, it impacted the way we wanted. And if one stops to tell you that, there's a multiple factor there. It's not just the one. Sure. Others have had it happen. Those are kind of the things. Big surprises. Now and then if someone, that they might get very angry over something and you don't even know that it's brewing. And they'll come and they'll say, I'm leaving the church. Might be, this is the last Sunday I'm coming here. And you're like, so I need to spend a little time here. And other people are coming at you. Will you sit down? We talk for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Can you wait for me? Yeah. Are you going to be here? I said, oh yeah, I'll be here.
Yep.
And if you wait, you got my time. But just that's the kind that can be surprising at times and not hurtful because they're not telling me that I did something or didn't do something. They're just not going to do it because of this reason. And you're like, okay, how do we talk this down?
Right.
And reposition, because they've spent their whole life in the church. And why go, don't do that.
Right. You are listening to Witnessing Faith with Bishop Dewane on Relevant Radio. I'm Karen Barry Schwartz, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Venice in Florida. Witnessing Faith with Bishop Dewane can be heard anytime at relevantradio.com and on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 a.m. on 1410 a.m. and 106.7 FM in Fort Myers and 1660 a.m. and 93.3 FM in Naples, or anytime at dioceseofvenice.org/ourbishop. Well, you mentioned standing in the back of the church and greeting people as they leave Mass, which I've witnessed many times with you, Bishop Dewane, and I didn't have that in my numbers, but the number of hands you've shaken over these 20 years, I can't even imagine at each of these 10,000 Masses, because you do stay and say hello to everybody. And so you have been extremely accessible to us here at the Catholic Center, which we appreciate, and giving us direction and guidance, and to the faithful out there. Would you say that a hallmark of your time as bishop for the Diocese of Venice?
As I said earlier, I feel the people of a diocese have a right to see their bishop. Now, I can't expect them all to come to the diocesan offices. First of all, we're a little bit north for that whole crowd.
Yeah.
We do events in 2 locations because of that reason. However, I've felt that all along. And sometimes when I thought, oh, how am I going to do it? It's like, get going, get out there.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in the office. Somebody else will take care of that, or I'll get to it after 5.
Right.
Or before
and you do.
some
I've
event.
seen you pull in here quite late.
Anyway, sometimes there's just things to be done. But in becoming a bishop, I don't think you have some idea what's to be done. But till you get going, I don't think you know. There's also an expectation, and they're not written anywhere. You feel them when the person approaches you. They need some help.
Yeah.
And it's not financial. It's not something I'll write a recommendation. No, it's something far deeper than that. It relates to maybe a moral question, maybe something that happened in their life long before I showed up here, and they're still very hurt, and they need to talk to somebody. What they did, was it right or wrong? Those are tough ones to answer. And, maybe that's not, maybe try and move off that plane with them. Okay, this happened. I just think they're not going to come to an office and talk about those things, but they
Right.
will say, but the other is, if I want to come see you, how do I get in touch with you? And then I would just say, just call my office, tell them we met at St. Charles, sure, whatever,
Mhm.
and I'll get back to you.
I can vouch for that. Bishop Dewane, you are always wanting to get back to people. A lot of people contact us in the communications office, and Bishop has always wanted to know about what people are asking of him and saying, and is very sure to tell us that we need to let him know so he can respond. All right, now this might be the hardest question.
All right,
What are you going to miss the most?
people.
Okay.
People. Because, here at the center, I'm in here all the time, so I see a lot. But I mean, being out and about, I won't be out and about the same way. I will be helping out in parishes. Sometimes a priest gets sick, goes on vacation. I'm around. All right, I can fill in for a while. That's no problem. But there'll be those times when there's nothing, and I'm just used to being around a lot of people right now. And that's not going to happen. So I guess I'm kind of ready for that. I look at it as, okay, me and the Lord hanging out. I have a chapel in my house and can go
Yeah.
ahead and use that. But I think it will be that.
Mhm.
But it will also give me the other side of that is, I've met a number of people over the years. And yes, I always enjoy seeing them and sometimes try to get together, but don't always have the time
Mm.
that I would like to spend with some of them. Or they say, can you come? Oh, no, I can't do that. I have confirmation. Well, what about next week no, I also have confirmation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it'll be just kind of rubbing elbows, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
Tend to be a sociable person that kind of way. And, that'll diminish a little bit.
For sure. Although I have to imagine after a little while you'll like having some rest.
Well,
You have
okay,
been
I'm not going to, I'll
busy.
test that out.
And just to kind of assure our listeners who are going to miss you terribly, you are staying in the area.
Yes, I am. Really, I'm staying in the house where I am because my predecessor, Bishop Nevin, stayed in the house, so I never really kind of moved to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had another house for Bishop Emilio to live in, and it's larger. It's right next to where Bishop Nevin's house was. And so that's what, he has a house and it's all set. But I'll be around. I might get to go to some more basketball games and football games, some fun things like that.
Yeah, well, we're glad to hear that. All right, we're just about out of time, Bishop, but one more question. This one should be easy for you. Am I your favorite?
Wow, you put me on the spot. And we're live. Of course. But listen, I have to tell everybody, because we've heard about this for a little while, you have a wedding coming up.
Yes.
Go ahead, tell our listeners about that.
My daughter, my youngest daughter, Audrey, is getting married to Sam, who joined the Catholic Church this past Easter.
All right.
And they will be married on Nantucket Island.
All right.
So we are very much looking forward to that.
All right. That's,
Thank you, Bishop.
For any parent, that's a big thing in their life and the life of their child.
It is. And I thank you for blessing the special rosary beads I got for bride and groom. That's going to mean a lot to them. Yes, we're looking forward to that. Thank you. Well, Bishop Dewane, this is our final show. I've really enjoyed doing this with you, and certainly all the years we've worked together on so many things.
Our listeners will get a new voice, which is always good also.
Yes, and you've said that many times with this transition, that new voices are good, and I suppose that's true, but we will miss you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to thank, as always, our host today, His Excellency Bishop Dewane, for today and for the many, many monthly shows you've done over the last 8 years. I believe you've been doing the show,
Right.
the last 5 or so with me. So that was about 100 shows. So I guess we've maybe done 60 or so together.
Okay.
And thank you for all you've done for the Diocese of Venice, and certainly for those of us here at the Catholic Center.
You are welcome.
And thanks to those of you who are listening. Stay tuned for what's next from the Diocese of Venice here on Relevant Radio. And please do join all of us here at the Catholic Center in praying for His Excellency, the Most Reverend Frank J. Dewane, as he prepares for the next stage of his priestly ministry as our Bishop Emeritus. May Bishop Dewane be sustained by our prayers and find rest, peace, and joy in his retirement. Good morning and God bless. You have been listening to Witnessing Faith with Bishop Dewane. I'm Karen Barry Schwartz, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Venice in Florida. Witnessing Faith with Bishop Dewane can be heard here on Relevant Radio on 1410 AM and 106.7 FM in Fort Myers and 1660 AM and 93.3 FM in Naples on the last Friday of every month at 8:30 AM or anytime at dioceseofvenice.org/ourbishop.
Quando in acqui submerge